It's a special day today in the neighborhood. First Takes in the house. The Final Four is about to take place this weekend. Some NFL stuff to talk about. Some NBA games to get into. No doubt about that. Got to talk about John Moran as well. It's a lot coming up. And I got the crew in the house. My man Dan Orlovsky's going to be here. Wendy's going to be around. Coach Greenberg is going to be around. And Molly is off because there's another host in the house. Say it ain't so, Joe. You'll see who I'm talking about.
Welcome to the show.
First Takes in the house. Ready?
I'm ready.
With so much at stake in the standings, big-time matchups, they bring out the best in your best players. LeBron trying to wield them offensively.
Here's a three. It's Pajewski. Here's three. The Warriors have come up with another gigantic road win.
All right, let's go to work, everybody. Steph Curry scored 37 points as the Golden State Warriors defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 123-116 on Thursday night for their fourth win in a row in a potential first-round playoff preview. LeBron James had 33 points and 9 assists to lead the Lakers, while Luka Doncic had 19 points, missing all 6 of his three-point attempts. Here's Steph Curry on the big win.
Step 1 is get a playoff series. Step 2 is to try to win 4 games and then figure it out from there. So where we were 2 months ago, 11th seed, and really struggling to find an identity, that's where that kind of comment comes out, because you know, the way that we're playing right now is reflective of what Jimmy's brought to us, but to the question of, you know, BP, Moses, JK, you know, Looney, Gee, Buddy, everybody, you know, QP who's in the rotation and really helping us. All those guys are understanding what winning basketball is and how it doesn't matter what it looks like, just compete.
All right, the Dubs now sit 1 game behind the Lakers for the number 4 seed in the West and 1.5 games behind the Nuggets for the 3rd seed. The Lakers have the 3rd hardest remaining schedule of any team in the NBA, according to ESPN Analytics. Steph Curry and the Warriors face the Nuggets tonight. Let's say hello to Brian Windhorst and the real version of Stephen A. Smith, not the AI version of Stephen A. Smith.
How about that? A whole bunch of
yesterday.
How about
Can you believe the world we're living in?
I cannot.
But we're going to lock in here.
We'll do it.
Steph, LeBron. Better for the NBA if who makes a deep playoff run?
Damn, this is a hard one. This is a really, really, really hard question. I'm going to tell you LeBron James. I'm going to tell you LeBron James. I mean, I'm talking about better. You know, he is 40. He is in the 22nd season. Even though his game doesn't provide that indication, you never know when Father Time hits you. It doesn't creep on you. It succumbs. I mean, it just shows up, bam, and hits you. LeBron James, obviously, I think this is the answer to that question. We look at Steph Curry, even though he's 37 himself, and time runs out, there's nothing in his game that tells you that either. But I just think with LeBron James, because he's older and because we're looking at a Laker team, we're thinking about Luka Doncic being the future, Brian. Obviously, he hasn't had a great season by any stretch of the imagination, but primarily because he's missed so many games. I think there will be a better version of Luka Doncic in the future, more so than it is this year. But we can't take for granted the years that LeBron James has left on his resume. And so because of that, that's why I think the answer, I mean, it is a hard question because I think we need them both. But if you want to sit up there and say whose deep playoff run would be better for the NBA, if LeBron made a deep playoff run at this stage in his career, considering the fact it's also in Tinseltown as well, I think those elements come into play, and that's why he would be the answer to this question.
Wendy.
Joe, as Stephen A. would say, let me be very, very clear. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are winning the West. I believe they are the best team. So before we discuss that, I want to get that very clear. All right. Who would it be more amazing for to get their 5th championship? Steph or LeBron? Considering what that would mean and what that would mean for fans and what it would mean for the league, I think it's probably LeBron when it comes to what's best for the league. Having said that, as I have continued to watch, I think Steph's got the better chance. And I know it's easy to say that the morning after we see them go into LA and win. Stephen A., we cannot ignore that this Warriors team is 19-2 now with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry playing together.
After the guarantee from Draymond. After the guarantee from Draymond.
I got to tell you, I mean, like, look, the problem with Draymond is he says a lot of stuff, and some of it is just ridiculous. But I have to respect that he told Malika Andrews in an interview that ran yesterday on NBA Today. He said it reminded him of this moment in 2022 when all of a sudden he just looked around and said, this team can win. This team can win the whole thing. And he canceled his June plans. He'd already made plans in June of 22, and he canceled them. This team, as Steph said, was in 11th place. And here's something else I just want to point out. We forget it because we're seeing the Warriors every night. The Warriors were trying to trade for Kevin Durant. They had all their eggs in the Kevin Durant basket. They were trying all kinds of elaborate moves. They were going to spring it on him. And then when that happened, Durant was like, hold up. Then they pivoted to Jimmy Butler. And the truth is, they just had a better package to offer than the Suns because the Suns were trying to get Butler for 2 months. But it wasn't like they didn't want Jimmy Butler, but Butler was plan B. So while we can praise Golden State for how this has worked out, just keep in mind, not even they could have foreseen exactly how this fell. But they're 19-2 with those guys playing together. With this starting lineup, and if you look at what Steve Kerr has had to do this year, if you go back and look at October and how he was playing and the way they were playing in January, the journey that he has been on as a coach to find this starting lineup has been as challenging as anything he's ever seen in his coaching career. But the lineup that they have now in April, which is their big three, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, and Steph Curry, with those two young wings, Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody, Stephen A., they're 13-0. They're 13-0, and they went into the Lakers last night where they took a haymaker from LeBron, who had his best offensive game since that injury. They took a haymaker from Austin Reeves, who had a 20-point fourth quarter. They took a haymaker from Rui Hachimura, who is such a difference maker when he gets things going for the Lakers, and they survived it because this team has got something cooking. So I can look at you and say, I think the world over, where all the Laker fans are, to have Luka fall into their lap and to set this up, this would be better for the league. Well, but I can't tell you that I think that's the way it's going to go.
Neither am I. I agree with you. I echo those sentiments, no doubt about that. But let's call it like it is. There's a few weeks ago, we were talking this way about the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you know why, Wendy? It was because they were one of, if not the elite defense in the game over an 8-week stretch. We looked at the Los Angeles Lakers. We said, oh, damn, we didn't, Luka's going to be who he can be offensively. LeBron is defying Father Time doing what he's doing. We've seen Austin Reeves elevate. We've seen contributions defensively from the Vanderbilts of the world, the Dorian Finney-Smiths of the world, et cetera, et cetera. And we looked at the Lakers defense and we said, damn, especially when they went into Denver and beat Denver and really beat them convincingly. We gave them props. But ever since then, if you look at the Lakers, right, particularly since LeBron James has returned to the lineup, they're over 7 games, they're 3-4 record. Their defensive rating, 27th. Fast break defense, 28th. Field goal percentage defense, 26th. 3-point percentage defense, 27th. We've looked at the Los Angeles Lakers defense and we said, where the hell have these guys gone? And that's what the real problem is here. Certainly Luka needs to play better. We understand that. But who believes that Luka is going to fold come playoff time? No. We know better because we've seen better from him, and we know he has the capability to get to that place. The problem with them is that defensively, they don't seem to be nearly as good as they need to be. And we certainly can't say that about Golden State. And that's why what Wendy says is very profound.
I think we went overboard with the Lakers when we first saw this new look team with Luka. We were drooling over how well they were playing defensively when they were locking down like it was a playoff run.
Right.
When in reality, it was going against a lot of teams in the regular season. Now they've hit that bump and everyone's jumping ship. The truth is they're somewhere in the middle. But the better story for the NBA has got to be the Lakers. The ability to relive the worst trade in NBA history over and over and over again as we work our way through the playoffs. Somehow, not saying, I think the case being made that Golden State has the better chance to run deep, that's absolutely true.
Right.
But the story that the NBA would prefer, this right here, I mean, you're reliving the Luka trade.
Well, if you want to talk about preference, guys, here's what the NBA would really prefer. that the Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State not meet in the first round, and that both Steph and LeBron advance past the first round.
The thing that was driven home to me last night, other than watching a tremendous fourth quarter, because this was a fourth quarter played like a Game 5 in a 2-2 series, okay? Let's look at the standings again, if you don't mind. You can put them back up on the screen. It is now crystal clear to me, whoever gets the 3 seed in the Western Conference, that's where you want to be. Houston has played so well against a favorable schedule, and they've got, by the way, the Houston Rockets have a tough weekend. They got the Thunder tonight, and then they got the Warriors. But I think I'm going to give the Rockets the 2nd seed. They've got that 3-game cushion. They take care of their business. What you're probably going to see here, look at 3, 4, 5. Whoever gets in the 3 is going to be on the opposite side of the bracket as the Thunder and the 4, 5. So if the Nuggets stay there in 3, which they're playing the Warriors tonight, it'll be all different. That means they only have to win the West, they have to beat one of the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Thunder. One of them. Same for the Lakers. If the Lakers can get back into 3 and they have to beat one of the Nuggets, Thunder, and Warriors, it changes everything. To me, and obviously it depends on what happens with the 6 seed, but to me, the 3 seed is what these teams are dreaming about. If you get in the 3, you get a potentially weaker, younger, well, not weaker, but younger Rockets team, and then you only have to play one of those teams in the conference finals if you can get past them.
Well, you're looking at it slightly different than me in this respect. You're focused on the top, the top ladder of those standings. I'm focused on, if you're a 3 seed, hope Memphis stays at the 6th seed. Okay, because even though they won last night in Miami or whatever, they've been struggling as of late. So if you are a 3 seed and Minnesota, well, wait a minute. If you're the 3 seed and you have the possibility of facing Memphis, that's something you should want. I think you should want Memphis a hell of a lot more than you should want Minnesota. I don't want to face Ant-Man in the first round. No. That's not a problem I want.
I don't want Golden State or Houston or Denver.
Say what?
I don't want, if I'm the Lakers, I don't want any part of Golden State. I don't want any part of Denver. I'll take my chances with home court against those other teams.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Of course that. But my point is the 3 seed, especially if it's Memphis, because if it's Minnesota, let's stop acting. This is Ant-Man we talk about here. This is a star that rises to the occasion and galvanizes folks around him as well. It's going to be interesting to see what life is like without Karl Anthony Towns come playoff time. And I get that part. What you going to do, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo? All right, how helpful are you going to be? But the Nas Reeds of the world and others, their contribution, their size, their ability to defend anybody but Jokic. Jokic is a entirely different matter because he just strips the heart right out of the chest of Rudy Gobert. But outside of that, I mean, it's a situation where Minnesota can be a very, very potent threat. I can't ignore that. But if it's the Memphis Grizzlies, based on the troubles that they've had and the way they've been struggling, I would want that matchup in the first round. And I think that's what you got to think about first if you're thinking about being a 3 seed.
It's all matchup based. If you're Denver, you want nothing to do with Minnesota no matter where the seeding is. Minnesota was built to beat Denver, and they showed that last year, and they've shown that throughout the course of the regular season. If you're Oklahoma City, you're not trying to duck anyone, obviously. But look at what Minnesota did to them this year. Handed them 2 of their 12 losses. It's all going to end up being matchup based. Wendy's right. Ideally, you want to end up 3, so you face the other side of the bracket and you save Oklahoma City for the end. But Wendy, that idea of the matchup dependent stuff, Denver would want nothing to do with Minnesota, you'd have to imagine.
You're right.
All right. Let's keep it cooking.
And I also point out, Minnesota, out of all these, and then before we move on, out of all these teams we're looking at, all those teams that are all bunched up and changed by the day, Minnesota's got the